We wanted to have a title that related to the good majority of the themes that are on the album, which are mostly medical themes.
In Utero was Nirvana's third and final studio album and was the follow-up to the highly successful, mega-selling Nevermind. The band wanted a more raw sound this time around, as Kurt Cobain had complained how Nevermind just sounded too slick.
It's just too slick.
Yeah.
I don't listen to records like that at home. I can't even listen to that record.
In Utero was recorded in the space of just 2 weeks in February of 1993 and was released in September later that same year. Its raw, uncompromising sound was a complete 180 from Nevermind. But Kurt Cobain, in his own words, said, "I am more proud of this album than anything else we have ever done."
You know, I mean, that's the thing, that's why I'm so excited about this record. I actually want to promote this record, not for the sake of selling records. I'm more proud of this record than anything we've ever done. We finally achieved the sound that I've been hearing in my head forever.
On In Utero, more so than any other Nirvana release, there was more of a collaboration between the band members on songwriting. Usually Kurt would take on the bulk of the duties for songwriting. However, there was one song in particular on In Utero where Dave Grohl really stood up and put his stamp on it, and that was Scentless Apprentice.
Dave came up with the drum beat, and we just built the song off of the drum. And the riff, yeah. He came up with the drum beat, and then he showed me the riff, you know, and it was really simple, and we thought, well, this could work, and I was thinking, this is kind of bonehead-ish, and then I thought, we'll work on it, and it turned out great, and now I'm excited about it, because now we can write together even more.
2 singles were released from the album, Heart-Shaped Box and All Apologies. A third, Pennyroyal Tea, was scheduled for release. However, it was cancelled when Cobain died in 1994. Subsequently, the song was released as a single 20 years later in 2014 and hit the #1 spot on the singles chart. Upon release, In Utero entered the Billboard 200 at #1 and received critical acclaim. However, despite this, there were initial reports that the record label weren't happy with In Utero and deemed the album unreleasable. Here, Cobain clarifies that situation.
I think the general consensus was that the album may not sell as much, and so they were concerned with that, you know. But they never, ever once put any pressure on us. They just basically told us their feelings and their thoughts of what they thought of the record, you know. Most people don't like the record, you know. A lot of my friends don't even like the record.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But
do you like the record?
I love it. I think it's great. Chris and Dave and I, all 3 of us are totally excited about it. We've achieved exactly what we've been wanting to achieve for the last 2 records.
The album boasts 12 tracks of raw, uncompromising grunge energy, with tracks like Scentless Apprentice, Very Ape, and radio-friendly Unit Shifter. And of course, you've got your big hits on there too with Heart-Shaped Box, Pennyroyal Tea, and All Apologies. And don't forget about track 13. If you fast forward approximately 20 minutes after All Apologies, you get the song Gallons of Rubbing Alcohol Flow Through the Strip, which is almost like a jam session in progress. With Cobain reciting the lines, "You're personally responsible for the entire strip to be washed away, cleansed, as if gallons of rubbing alcohol flow through the strip and were set on fire." In this next clip, we go behind the scenes as Kurt Cobain talks about the use of microphones when recording In Utero, and working with producer Steve Albini to get the sound that the band really wanted.
Technically, I've learned that the way to achieve that is to use a lot of microphones.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just something that I've known for years, ever since I started recording. I've always known, it just seems so obvious to me that if you want, because microphones are so directional, that if you want an ambient sound, you need to use a lot of tracks. You need to use a lot, or you need to use a microphone that isn't omnidirectional, and it's farther away from the instruments.
Yeah.
So you can pick up the reverberation from the walls.
How many mics did you use on this one?
I have no idea, but a lot. For the drums, I mean, we had microphones, big old German microphones taped to the floor, on the ceilings and the walls, all over the place.
About 20, 30.
Probably, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And I've been trying to get producers to do this ever since we've been, I mean, see, I've always just, you know, I don't know anything about recording, but it just seems so obvious to me that that's what you need to do. And I've been trying, you know, I tried to get Butch Vig to do it, I tried to get Jack and Dino to do it, and everyone's response is that that isn't how you record. That's not the way. Yeah. Right. And Steve Albini proved it to me on these records. Although I didn't know exactly how he did it, I just knew that it had to be that. He had to have used a bunch of microphones. You know, it's as simple as that. It's not really as personal as a lot of people would like it to be. I actually had some themes on this album that don't have anything to do with my life at all.
Cobain stated that only some of the songs on In Utero were more specifically about him and his life, but that there were actually songs on the album that had specific themes. For example, Frances Farmer Will Have Her Revenge on Seattle. That song is actually taken from real life, about a real woman named Frances Farmer. Frances Farmer was born in Seattle. She was quite a well-known actress and had appeared in several Hollywood films. She could be seen as somewhat of a controversial personality at times. Her struggles with alcohol have been well documented, and she had been admitted into mental hospitals several times throughout her adult life by members of her own family who put her there. And she had a really rough time. She was abused in those institutions. However, she did make her way out of there, and she was even able to resurrect her acting career once again. However, in 1970, at the age of 56, Frances Farmer would die of cancer. So that particular song was based on a true story. And for one of the first times, Kurt Cobain actually based one of his songs off a book he had read. The song Scentless Apprentice is directly based off the book Perfume by Patrick Suskind. Cobain said he just couldn't stop reading the book, and he had read it about 10 times during his life. The album had several working titles, such as Sappy and Verse, Chorus, Verse, before the band eventually settled on In Utero, which basically means happening before birth or in a woman's uterus, stuff like that. The cover artwork for the album features an image of a transparent anatomical mannequin with angel wings superimposed. The photograph on the back cover of the album is from a collage that Cobain had made himself. This collage consisted of model fetuses, a turtle shell, models of turtles, and body parts laying in a bed of orchids and lilies.
We wanted to have a title that related to the good majority of the themes that are on the album, which are mostly medical themes, you know, sickness and death and rebirth and having to be restrained in a bed with an IV in your arm and being sick all the time. You know, I for some reason see a connection between death and life and being sick all the time, and I'm just kind of obsessed with it, so I had to get it out of my system.
In September of 1994, Heart-Shaped Box was nominated for 5 awards at the MTV VMAs and would win in 2 of those categories. One of the categories was Best Art Direction, and the second award Nirvana picked up was for Best Alternative Video. So Kurt had only just died 5 months prior to this in April, and it was a very emotional moment when Dave Grohl, Chris Novoselic, and Pat Smear went up to accept the award.
Well, I'm not the most vocal person in the world, but it'd be silly to say that it doesn't feel like there's something missing, and I think about Kurt every day, and I'd like to thank everybody for paying attention to our band. Thanks.
To commemorate the album's 20th anniversary, DGC reissued In Utero in several different formats in September of 2013. The In Utero Super Deluxe Edition contained 3 CDs plus a DVD. The package included more than 70 recordings, including B-sides, compilation tracks, never before heard demos, and live material. The album producer, Steve Albini, revisited the original multi-tracks and created a new stereo mix of the original album tracks. A comprehensive 60-page bound book showcasing never-before-seen photos, documents, and various other artifacts of the In Utero era, as well as a double-sided poster, round out the anniversary collection. So here are my really cool In Utero cassettes that I still have to this very day. A very cool piece of memorabilia to still own. So In Utero, a very awesome Nirvana album, went away from what they had done on Nevermind, went for a more raw, uncompromising sound, more heavy, and as Kurt Cobain has said himself, it was the exact sound that the band was going for, the exact sound they wanted. Really good songs on here. I do distinctly remember the first time I ever played this on cassette, and Serve the Servants came on. I thought, well, this is a really cool song. Set the tone well for the album. That's a great track. So many good songs on here, not necessarily packed full of hits. That's what you got on Nevermind. But don't get me wrong, you very much have some hit songs on here with Heart-Shaped Box, Penny Royalty, and All Apologies. But Scentless Apprentice, Rape Me, Francis Farmer, Dumb, Very Ape's a very cool song. Milk It with that screaming he does in the chorus. Radio-Friendly Unit Shifter, another very good song. Tourette's, great punk song. Over in a couple of minutes, just does its job and it's done. And All Apologies, perfect way to end the album. A great Nirvana song, that one truly is. Very good material on this album, very solid record. Many people will take this one over Nevermind, it just depends what you prefer. And it's a great shame that this was Nirvana's last studio album. Just to think what they could have done after this, how they could have advanced. I'm sure the next one would have been really good too, right? But anyway, there it goes. Thanks heaps for tuning in. Drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll catch you next time.